Hello, everyone. This is Adorkable. Uh, Welcome to my stream. Today is, what is today? Today is January the 3rd. Time flies. We're already into the third day of 2023. And we are on chapter 2 now of, we're reading Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Just a book, like I said, talked before, I just decided I want to do something other than just play games on stream, and I couldn't think of something. What I like to do, though, is I do like to read. I don't read as much as I should, I don't think, so I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and I'll try reading on stream, and we'll see how this goes. Maybe it'll help me read a little bit more consistently, be a little bit more accountable if I read a little bit more, if I read with you guys. So that's what I'm here tonight doing, and we are on chapter 2. This is a lot harder to read than I thought it was going to be. Lots of course, Chinese characters, but I guess I thought since it was a translation that it would be all in English, and it's not all in English. There's even quite a bit of French in here that I've had to try and figure out how to pronounce. Not doing the greatest job, of course, but I'm doing my best. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Just let me know I'm not sitting here reading to myself, although I'll keep doing this reading to myself because I just want to, something I want to do, something I want to share. I will upload each video to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, it's at The Adorkable Blonde with an E at the end, at The Adorkable Blonde. So if you missed a chapter or you want to go back and listen, they'll all be posted there, so you can find them. I don't know what book I'm going to read next. I was kind of looking at some of the books that are available now on public domain. I'm here in the United States, so I have to be careful about copyright laws. But I was looking at maybe, I don't know why, but Winnie the Pooh is available now, and I thought, oh my gosh, I grew up watching the TV specials and everything, but I don't know that I've ever actually read the book. So I was thinking maybe I could read Winnie the Pooh. Some Agatha Christie is also available, so good mystery is always good as well. The Art of War is really making my brain work hard reading it and the pronunciation, so I'm not sure which direction we'll go next, but if anyone has any ideas, feel free to message me. I am available on Twitter. It's at Adorkable Mother on Twitter. Someone beat me to my Adorkable Blonde. So just look for at Adorkable Mother. Go ahead and send me a message or something if there's a book that you would like me to read. I can look into it as long as I can find a copy that's in the public domain. We can have at it. So, and let me think of anything else. I guess that's pretty much covers it. So we're just gonna go ahead and start reading. We read the intro, which was really long and hard. Apparently this guy who did this translation really does not think very highly of the guy who did a translation before him. There's a lot of trash talk going on in here. It's kind of funny because, this book is like 100 years old, and you just don't really think about these scholars and these, translators trash talking each other the way they are, but boy, they're really trash talking each other. I think they'd have a heyday on Twitter trash talking each other, I guess. Just the things he's calling them. And so I think we'll do what we did last night. I kind of liked it, where I'll just go ahead and read through the whole chapter as best I can, all the commentary and everything. Then I'll go back through at the end and just read the parts that are from The Art of War. I think that helped make it a little bit more clear, for me anyways, to see it done that way. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. And again, feel free to pop in, say hi, let me know you're here. If you need me to repeat anything or back up or talk about anything, I would love to talk a little bit more with you and get to know you guys. And then I can share a little bit more about myself, although I'm sure I'll be sharing anyway. Um, I, I talk a lot, probably surprises some of you, but I do. I tend to talk a lot. And I talk fast, just like I read fast. Although this is really making me slow down because it's kind of hard to keep up with all these words and symbols and everything, but just, follow along. I put the link on my YouTube to where you can find this PDF that I'm working from. So if you wanted to read along, you can certainly access it that way. I haven't quite figured out how to put everything here on my videos, but I'm learning. It's a learning experience. We all have to learn somehow. So, welcome, good evening, good morning, whatever time of the day it is. Some of you, it's probably already January the 4th, but here it is January the 3rd, and we were going to go ahead and start reading chapter 2. So hopefully my mouse is showing. I tried to get it to show. So here's chapter 2 with all these symbols. And here is the interpretation of those. 2. Waging war. Cao Kung has the note, all of these symbols. He who wishes to fight must first count the cost, which prepares us for the discovery that the subject of the chapter is not what we might expect from the title, but is primarily a consideration of ways and means. Sun Tzu said, "In the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, well, this is a weird, he just kind of stops us in the middle of the sentence with his commentary. Okay, the symbol were lightly built and according to Cheng Yu, used for the attack. This other symbol were heavier and designed for the purposes of defense. Li Chuan, it is true, says that the latter were light, but this seems hardly probable. Captain Calthrop translates chariots and supply wagons retrospectively, but it is not supported by any commentator. It is interesting to note the analogies between early Chinese warfare and that of the Homeric Greeks. In each case, the war chariot was the important factor, forming as it did the nucleus round which was grouped a certain number of foot soldiers. With regard to the numbers given here, we are informed that each swift chariot was accompanied by 75 footmen, and each heavy chariot by 25 footmen, so that the whole army would be divided up into 1,000 battalions, each consisting of 2 chariots and 100 men. And then we finish the sentence, or middle of the sentence, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li. 2.78 modern li go to a mile. The length may have varied slightly since Sun Tzu's time. The expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and sums spent on chariots and armor, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. This symbol, which follows this symbol in the Textus Receptus, is important as indicating the apodosis. In the text adopted by Captain Calthrop, it is omitted so that he is led to give this meaningless translation of the opening sentence. Now the requirements of war are such that we need 1,000 chariots, etc. The second symbol, which is redundant, is omitted in the Yulan. These symbols, like these symbols above, is meant to suggest a large but indefinite number. As the Chinese have never possessed gold coins, it is incorrect to translate it 1,000 pieces of gold. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men. Captain Calthrop adds, "You have the instruments of victory," which he seemed to get from the first 5 characters of the next sentence. 2. When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull, and their ardor will be damped. The Yulon omits this character, but though these characters is certainly a bold phrase, it is more likely to be right than not. Both in this place and in section 4, the Tung Tien in Yulon read this character in the sense of to injure instead of this character. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. As synonyms to this symbol are given here and here and here. 3. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. These characters means literally if there is long exposure of the army. Of this character in this sense, Kangsai cites an instance from the biography of To Jung in the Ho Han Shu, where the commentary defines it by this. Also, the following from these other characters: General, you have long been exposed to all weathers. 4. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardor damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. Following to you, I understand this symbol in the sense of to make good, i.e., to mend. But Tu Mu and Ho Shin explained it as to make good plans for the future. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. This concise and difficult sentence is not well explained by any of the commentators. Okay, I don't really see it as being that difficult of a sentence. To me, that makes perfect sense. And not taking any sides, but the first thing that popped into my head when I read this was the situation that is still ongoing between Russia and oh my gosh, I just totally lost my brain. The Ukraine, between Russia and the Ukraine. I think when it started, everybody thought it was going to be super fast, and it's still going on almost a year later. So yeah, I don't think, and I'm not saying anything because I don't know anything about war, but I don't know that cleverness has ever been associated with long delays, especially in war. I think that long delays. The longer a war plays out, it's got to be more devastating on everybody. Anyway, that didn't seem to be that difficult of a sentence, but I guess this person, our author, our translator here, felt like that was a difficult sentence. Okay. Cao Kung, Li Chuan, Meng Shi, Tu Yu, Tu Mu, and Mei Yao Qian have notes to the effect that a general, though naturally stupid, may nevertheless conquer through sheer force of rapidity. Ho Shin says, haste may be stupid, but at any rate it saves expenditure of energy and treasure. Protracted operations may be very clever, but they bring calamity in their train. Wang Sai evades the difficulty by remarking, lengthy operations mean an army growing old, wealth being expended, and empty exchequer and distress among the people. True cleverness ensures excuse me, ensures against the occurrence of such calamities. Chang Yu says, so long as victory can be attained, stupid haste is preferable to clever dilatoriness. Now, Sun Tzu says nothing whatever, except possibly by implication, about ill-considered haste being better than ingenious but lengthy operations. What he does say is something much more guarded, namely that, while speed may sometimes be injudicious, tardiness can never be anything but foolish, if only because it means impoverishment to the nation. Captain Calthrop indulges his imagination with the following. Therefore, it is acknowledged that war cannot be too short in duration, but though conducted with the utmost art, if long continuing, misfortunes do always appear. It is hardly worthwhile to note the total disappearance of these two symbols in this precious concoction. In considering the point raised here by Sun Tzu, the classic example of Fabius Cunctator will inevitably occur to the mind. And I have to say that that example did not occur to my mind. That general deliberately measured the endurance of Rome against that of Hannibal's isolated army because it seemed to him that the latter was more likely to suffer from a long campaign in a strange country. But it is quite a moot question whether his tactics would have proved successful in the long run. The reversal, it is true, led to Cannae, but this only establishes a negative presumption in their favor. And then here's some more text. Number 6, there is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. The Yulon has this symbol instead of this symbol, evidently the mistake of a scribe. Number 7, it is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. That is, with rapidity. Only one who knows the disastrous effects of a long war can realize the supreme importance of rapidity in bringing it to a close. Only 2 commentators seem to favor this interpretation, but it fits well into the logic of the context, whereas the rendering, he who does not know the evils of war cannot appreciate its benefits, is distinctly pointless. Hang on just a moment. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Whoops, I guess I should have done my little be right back thing. Even though I'm streaming, I'm still always a mom, so I have to take care of my kids when they need help. Okay. So, I guess I'll just repeat this paragraph. That is, with rapidity. Only one who knows the disastrous effects of a long war can realize the supreme importance of rapidity in bringing it to a close. Only 2 commentators seem to favor this interpretation, but it fits well into the logic of the context, whereas the rendering, he who does not know the evils of war cannot appreciate its benefits, is distinctly pointless. 8. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy, neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. Once a war is declared, he will not waste precious time in waiting for reinforcements, nor will he turn his army back for fresh supplies, but crosses the enemy's frontier without delay. This may seem an audacious policy to recommend, but with all great strategists, from Julius Caesar to Napoleon Bonaparte, the value of time, that is, being a little ahead of your opponent, has counted for more than either numerical superiority or the nicest calculations with regard to commiserant. This symbol is used in the sense of this symbol. The Tung Tien and Yulan have the inferior reading, this symbol. The commentators explain these by saying that the wagons are loaded once before passing the frontier, and that the army is met by a further consignment of supplies on the homeward march. The Yulan, however, reads this symbol here as well. 9. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Thus the army will have food enough for its needs. This symbol things to be used in the widest sense. It includes all the impedimenta of an army apart from provisions. I hate when you get a word in your head, and so even though it's not the word that you're looking at, your brain just does not want you to say it the way it's supposed to be said. I was having a hard time with that word. Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired today. And it was a really pretty day today, too. And it was sunny, but I have just been exhausted all day. So, okay, number 10. Poverty of the state exchequer causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance causes the people to be impoverished. The beginning of this sentence does not balance properly with the next, though obviously intended to do so. The arrangement, moreover, is so awkward that I cannot help suspecting some corruption in the text. It never seems to occur to Chinese commentators that an emendation may be necessary for the sense, and we get no help from them here. Sun Tzu says that the cause of the people's impoverishment is this. It is clear, therefore, that the words have reference to some system by which the husbandmen sent their contributions of corn to the army direct. But why should it fall on them to maintain an army in this way, except because the state or government is too poor to do so? Assuming then that this symbol ought to stand first in the sentence in order to balance this symbol, the fact that the two words rhyme is significant. And thus, getting rid of these symbols, we are left with these symbols, which latter word seems to me an obvious mistake for this other symbol. Poverty in the army is an unlikely expression, especially as the general has just been warned not to encumber his army with a large quantity of supplies. If we suppose that this symbol somehow got written here instead of this one, a very simple supposition, as we have these symbols in the next sentence, and that later on somebody sending a mistake prefixed the gloss of this to this, without, however, erasing this other stuff, the whole muddle may be explained. My amended text, then, would be this. 11. On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up, and high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. This symbol, that is, as Wang Sai says, before the army has left its own territory. Cao Kung understands it of an army that has already crossed the frontier. Captain Calthrop drops this symbol reading these, but even so it is impossible to justify his translation, repeated wars cause high prices. Okay. 12. When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. Cf. Menikos the 7th to 14, section 2, where this has the same meaning as this. This was an ancient measure of land. The full table, as given by this, may not be out of place here. And I'm not even going to try because these don't make any sense to me because I don't understand the symbols. According to Cho Li, there were 9 husbandmen to a whatever this is, which would assign to each man the goodly allowance of 100, this of which 6.6 now go to an acre. What the values of these measures were in Sun Tzu's time is not known with any certainty. The lineal symbol, however, is supposed to have been about 20 centimeters. May include levies of men as well as other exactions. 13 and 14. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their incomes will be dissipated. The Yulan omits these symbols. I would propose the amended reading this way. In view of the fact that we have these symbols in the 2 preceding paragraphs, it seems probable that this is a scribe's mistake for this symbol having been added afterwards to make sense. These symbols literally, within the middle planes there is emptiness in the homes. With regard to these symbols, Tu Mu says these symbols and Wang Sai these symbols. That is, the people are mulcted not of 3/10 but of 7/10 of their income. But this is hardly to be extracted from our text. Ho Shin has a characteristic tag, the people being regarded as the essential part of the state, and food as the people's heaven. Is it not right that those in authority should value and be careful of both? And then here's the rest of the sentence up there. While government expenses for broken chariots, worn out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantlets, draught oxen, and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. The Yulan has several various readings here, the more important of which are this symbol, for the less common, this symbol and this symbol, and these symbols, which latter, if right, must mean oxen from the country districts. For the meaning of this symbol, see note on chapter 3, section 4. Captain Calthrop omits to translate all these other symbols. Number 15. Hence, a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. 1 cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own, and likewise, a single picul of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. Because 20 cartloads will be consumed in the process of transporting 1 cartload to the front. According to Cao Kung, okay, this is just a bunch of math, and it literally just means bean stalks and straw. Okay, 16. Now, in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger. That there may be advantage from defeating the enemy, they must have their rewards. These are two difficult sentences, which I have translated in accordance with Mei Yaochen's paraphrase. We may incontinently reject Captain Calthrop's extraordinary translation of the first. Wantonly to kill and destroy the enemy must be forbidden. Cao Kung quotes a jingle current in his day. Tu Mu says, rewards are necessary in order to make the soldiers see the advantage of beating the enemy. Thus, when you capture spoils from the enemy, they must be used as rewards so that all your men may have a keen desire to fight, each on his own account. Chang Yu takes this symbol as the direct object of this symbol, which is not so good. 17. Therefore, in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. Captain Calthrop's rendering is, they who are the first to lay their hands on more than 10 of the enemy's chariots should be encouraged. We should have expected the gallant captain to see that such Samson-like prowess deserves something more substantial than mere encouragement. He's just so mean when he's cutting this guy down all over the place. T omits these symbols and has in place the more archaic these symbols. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. The captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. 18. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. 19. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. And this handwriting is the person that, I guess, that made the copies of this book. I don't know, but that's just, we won't worry about their personal notes. As Hoshi remarks, war is not a thing to be trifled with. Sun Tzu here reiterates the main lesson which this chapter is intended to enforce. 20. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. In the original text, there is this symbol before the other symbol. Okay, and that's chapter 2. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. I didn't pay any attention. Okay. I should have written down the page. I think a lot of the more modern printings of this, I'll have to check my little book here. They don't go into all this commentary. It's just talking about the different, I think it's, let me see here. I'm trying to grab my book and see how much commentary he has. Well, no, okay. So the other book that I have on this, the one that I got originally to read before I started doing this, it still has all the commentary. I wonder if he trashes what's his face. He called number 1 strategic assessments and number 2 doing battle. And then they'll put in what Master Sun said, and then they have some of this has Jia Lin, Zhang Yu, Li Quan, and Du Yu. So it's organized a little bit better. I wonder which. But I'm not super duper. They've got the translator's preface. Who's the translator? Thomas Cleary. So I wonder if he trashes everybody. It doesn't look like he's trashing everybody. I have to wait about 30 years before I can read this one. Man, his introduction's even longer than the introduction we just read. I'm skimming through it. I don't see. He mentions the commentators, the same commentators or similar ones. Interesting. But he doesn't mention these other translations. Whew, okay, so maybe it's just this organization. And this guy throws in a lot of the actual Chinese words and symbols, and they do not appear in my other book. And I wish I knew a little bit more about how to pronounce these. I mean, he seems to have done a lot of work. This guy seems to have done a lot of work on this. I don't know. It's whew, it's very, very much an academic exercise. My brain is getting worn out from this. Um, but that's okay. That's okay. We got this. So we'll go back and we'll just read the parts that Sun Tzu said. So this is called Waging War, Chapter 2. Sun Tzu said, in the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and sums spent on chariots and armor, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. So that's how much he thinks it's going to cost. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men. 2. When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, the men's weapons will grow dull, and their ardor will be damped. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Number 3. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. 4. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardor damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. 5. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been seen associated with long delays. 6. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. 7. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. 8. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy, neither are his supply wagons loaded more than twice. 9. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Thus the army will have food enough for its needs. 10. Poverty of the state exchequer causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance causes the people to be impoverished. (11) On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up, and high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. 12. When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. 13 and 14. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their incomes will be displayed. While government expenses for broken chariots, worn-out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantlets, draught oxen, and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. 15. Hence, a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. 1 cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own, and likewise a single picul of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. 16. Now in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger. That there may be advantage from defeating the enemy, they must have their rewards. 17. Therefore, in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. The captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. 18. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. 19. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. 20. Thus it may be known that the leader of the armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. So, that's a lot. So no one said hello to me yet, so I don't know who all's here listening and what you guys thought about that. This was a little bit more, I guess the last chapter I felt like had a little bit more application to real life. This one seems to be really, really focused on war. I guess because it's a lot, like the financing of the war. I mean, some of it makes sense. You know, if you're going to have people fight, they need to be rewarded, and it's better to, use everybody else's money than use your own, go through using your enemy's stuff. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, and yeah, lengthy wars are not good. I don't know. Whoops. What'd I do with my book? Let me flip through my book here real quick on this chapter and see if he sums anything up differently. I think maybe it's hard reading 100-year-old translation instead of a more modern translation. So this one, when you do battle, even if you are winning, if you continue for a long time, it will dull your forces and blunt your edge. If you besiege a citadel, your strength will be exhausted. If you keep your armies out in the field for a long time, your supplies will be insufficient. This guy doesn't number his points like the others are. Oops, this looks like something that our guy felt was not smart. Let me see if I can back up here. See where it is. Okay, so instead of thus though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. And this one says, therefore I have heard of military operations that were clumsy but swift, but I have never seen one that was skillful and lasted a long time. It is never beneficial to a nation to have a military operation continue for a long time. But 6. Yeah, I think this guy, so for number 7, the translation that our translator does not like. He who does not know the evils of war cannot appreciate its benefits. He thinks that's pointless. This other book says, therefore, those who are not thoroughly aware of the disadvantages in the use of arms cannot be thoroughly aware of the advantages in the use of arms. So I guess this guy went back to the other guy's translation. Those who use the military skillfully do not raise troops twice and do not provide food 3 times. So, I don't know. It's amazing. And I know that these are translated into English, and so maybe it's all translation errors. But I wonder if it's that confusing in its original language. Because some of these seem to say not even the same thing. I don't know. This is called Overcoming the Opponent and Increasing Your Strength to Boot. I think maybe the translation tries to put it in language that we use now. I'm not. Hence, we know that the leader of the army is in charge of the lives of the people and safety of the nation. I don't even know where that one came from. I'm not sure that was his last one. And what was our last one? There's the rewards. Oh, well, I guess, yeah, kind of. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I guess when I first wanted to read this book, I just thought it was going to read like a book. Like maybe there'd just be like a couple little stories that the guy would make his points. And maybe that's the way it reads if I knew how to read the original Chinese. But with all these commentaries and comments and nothing seems to be the same, this book is not at all like what I thought it was going to be. No wonder it's taken me so long to read it. But we're going to read it. We're going to get through this together and we're going to read it, and then we can make up our own opinions as to who the idiot interpreter was. Because this book has been around forever and they're still talking about it, and they're still, they've got the Art of War for Business, and they've got all kinds of different things. And so I'm sure that these points are practical. I just think sometimes they seem to get a little lost in everybody trying to make themselves sound out to be really, really cool because I'm the interpreter of this one and you're not the interpreter of this one. But I don't know. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about. I probably should have started off reading Winnie the Pooh. That might have been a little bit better for me to start with now that I think about it, because this is getting kind of whoosh. But we started it, so we're going to finish this book. We're going to finish it. We'll do awesome. And then next we'll pick something a little bit lighter to read. Because really what I had hoped with this is that, maybe if you just wanted to listen to a book being read to you before you go to bed at night or before you start your day or you're getting ready, and you can kind of use me as like an audio book, but we could like develop this relationship together and get to know each other and just enjoy reading together. And this is not what this has turned out to be for me yet. But it's a good learning experience, and I do want to finish this book. So we're going to trudge through this and finish this book, and hopefully I don't lose too many people in the process, and then we can get started on the next book, and I'll hopefully will read it like I had wanted to, where I just I'm your reading companion, I'm your reading buddy, your reading friend, and I can just read to you at different times of the day, whether you listen to me live or you catch me on YouTube, but we read these books together, because that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted for my stream. That was my plan for this channel, is to be able to do things like that. So this is interesting though. I don't not sure I want to start at the third section. Let's see, this is page 16. Let's just scroll through and see how long it is. Let's see. 17, 18, 19, 20. It says I have 264 pages, but we're really on like 76, not really 20, because the intro was so long. This person, Hitler, this person, obviously whoever owned this book that was scanned in was thinking, maybe it could have been during the war, because they sure do reference that stuff a lot. That they have their own little notes in there. It looks like that's it. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 45. So about 9 pages. 9 pages is our next one. I don't know. Maybe I'll just start skipping the commentary. Just read through Sun Tzu's and maybe just pick out the important parts of the commentary. I don't know. Maybe we just need to keep trudging along and reading all of it, because there is some interesting stuff that's in these notes, and it cracks me up. Oh, look, he wrongly translates the term. I love him trash talking, and I would miss all that trash talking, because that is kind of funny, all that academic trash talking that they're doing. So, I don't know. I guess I'll have to decide by tomorrow, though, because I'm wanting to come back tomorrow. I would like to finish this book. Let's see, there's 13 chapters. We're on chapter 3. I won't be streaming on weekends. It's probably going to take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's going to take us a month to read this book. But that's okay, because I've had this book for years and haven't read it. So if it takes us a month, I guess it's going to take us a month, and we can do it. I have faith in us. We can do it. So let's see. I'll start looking for new books. If anyone has any ideas, you can reach me on Twitter. I am at Adorkable Mother, ADORKABLEMOTHER, Adorkable Mother, on Twitter. Also my YouTube page. I'm at The Adorkable Blonde, TheAdorkableBlonde. It has an E. Here on here, my screen name does not have an E, because I ran out of room. Like, it stopped me at that many characters. So that's why my Nemo doesn't have the E at the end of blonde. Every place else, I try and put the E on blonde. So it'll be Adorkable Blonde, The Adorkable Blonde. Twitter, like I said, is Adorkable Mother, because somebody beat me to Adorkable Blonde on there. Made me so mad. But that's okay. We got this. I do stream games when I play games. I play old games, old school games like from 1982 kind of games. Um, so you can go ahead and find me on Twitch. I'm at Adorkable Blonde on Twitch if you want to watch me play games. But if you just want to watch me read, oh, that's fine too. I do try and upload my games onto my YouTube also, but I have grouped all of these videos into a playlist on The Art of War so that it's easier to find them all in there. The game ones are just kind of loose. I've played a few different games. Right now, I'm trying to play, like I said, a 1982, 1983 computer game called King's Quest. It was created by Sierra. It's one of those talking adventures where you have to figure out the words that they wanted you to use in 1982. I did it when I was younger. I had an Apple IIe computer when I was 13 years old. It was the first computer that my family owned. I thought I was so cool. And I used to play King's Quest on it. And it was fun, or at least I thought it was fun. Um, Now it's kind of frustrating. The speed and the graphics, it's like, oh my gosh, would you hurry up? But that's okay. It's just a little trip down memory lane. But I guess maybe things always took a long time ago. Because, boy, reading this translation from 1910 sure is taking a lot longer than I normally take to read books. And just looking at the one that I have here from I think it's from the 1960s, 1970s. Yeah, it's a lot faster reading than this, but that's okay. It's good sometimes to stretch your brain, to make you work for things. Um, Always good to learn. I love to learn. That's why I like to read. That's why I wanted to read with you. I wanted to help myself learn. I wanted to help you guys. I wanted to, like I said, be your reading buddy, hang out together and do things. Just read and spend some time together. So, I'll start looking for some options. I'll probably go ahead and put a poll once I come up with 2 options. I'll put a poll here on my Nemo, and maybe you guys can pick the next book. So I don't know. Right now, like I said, it's probably going to be between Winnie the Pooh or an Agatha Christie. But we'll see if I see something else that looks interesting, and I'll put that on there as an option. And so probably look in the next couple of weeks. I'll make sure and mention it when I do get the survey up or the poll up, so you guys can be sure to vote and let me know what you want me to read. Something obviously a lot easier to read, something a little bit easier to listen to. I know this is not the easiest to listen to, going back and forth between the voice of Sun Tzu and the commentaries and the translator and the trash talking and the everything else that's going on here. So anyway, well, thank you for joining and hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it. We are gonna get through this. Again, feel free to follow me and message me, chat it up during my reading. Say hello. Don't be afraid to stop and say hello. You won't interrupt me at all. My brain interrupts me all the time. So if you just, stop and say hello so I know I'm not alone. I've seen numbers. I know there's people there sometimes, but no one stops to say hello. So please say hello next time. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow or the next day, and we will hit chapter 3 of Sun Tzu's book, The Art of War. And hope everyone has a good night and a great day tomorrow, or a great day today and a good night tonight, depending on what time it is where you are. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.